Welcome everyone to Tarot and the Moons. My name is Ingrid. Let's get started. So as you can see from the video here, I have both the Vedic astrological sign placement of Sagittarius and the tropical astrological placement of Capricorn. Both of these systems say that the moon is in one or the other. For me, the full moon is indicative of it being swinging between these two energy fields when it comes to our emotions. And what are our emotions, right? For me, the moon focuses on the sort of the aspect of ourselves that's all about feeling and our feeling nature. And it's really the key to empaths. It's really the key to understanding ourself and understanding others. So the full moon, according to Western tropical astrology, is said to be in Capricorn. And Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. Saturn is a very constrictive planet. It's actually the planet of contraction, right? So it pulls you in. So we're going to be pulled into our emotional states. Whereas the full moon in Sagittarius is the viewpoint of Vedic astrologers, where that full moon is located. And that full moon, when it comes to Sagittarius, is ruled by the planet Jupiter. And Jupiter is expansive, right? So I was thinking a little bit about this idea of expansion and contraction, expansion and contraction. That's how we're going to feel during this full moon window period. So it's going to be a little intense, guys, all right? So I just need you to remember to hold that light. If you've been watching um, my other videos, we really have to start staying centered. For me, a full moon in her complete openness shows us the decay of cycles. And on the surface of a full moon, we can see these crevices and these carve outs, right? And they look like blemishes or something that's not exactly smooth. Um, so the full moon really exposes itself in its wholeness. And I think I'm speaking about this because I feel that the full moon is going to be exposing something for us collectively. Now, even though there's this exposure with the full moon, there's still this sense of mystery, this sense of secrecy with a full moon. But, we really have to just take the exposure and digest it. And I think whatever it is that's going to be exposed with this full moon is going to have us feeling that contraction and expansion, contraction and expansion. I hope it's not an earthquake or anything like that because it feels like that contraction and expansion. Um, and like Jupiter for the Sagittarius energy, Jupiter is a planet of the spiritual teacher, the guide, truth, faith, religion, spirituality. It's a very benefic energy, and then it's juxtaposed with Saturn, which rules Capricorn, which is all about discipline, order, structure, dependability. Some say a malefic planet. It's about death, disease, oppression, right? So these two could not be more water and oil mixture, right? It's not gonna gel very well with this kind of energy. Now, when I was doing I go into my full moon meditation, the word that I heard was regret. And I feel that this is about painful secrets coming out and being exposed that certain groups of people will go into that space of regret. And for me, the essence of this July, just generally, when it comes to these moons, both this full moon and the new moon coming up, This gives me the feeling that the regret is coming from the love of materialism. And it's materialism that stifles our true happiness, our joyfulness, our accomplishments. It's this materialism that's like gluttony, right? And there's a regret here with this energy. And it's imperative that we, us, you, me, collectively, begin to develop our own inner spiritual riches. I've been saying this from the get-go, from 2025, very beginning of the year. We need to start developing our inner spiritual riches and start manifesting our outer expressions with these energies of gratitude, okay? Um, yeah, so let's just move on. I did want to just briefly say that when we're dealing with a full moon, remember that the full moon is a perfect time to wrap something up, to complete something, to release something. I feel there's going to be a lot of release, a lot of exposure, a lot of letting go. And it's also a great time to illuminate something for us, right? So keep that in mind and remember that what doesn't serve us needs to be let go, but sometimes letting go of things can be quite painful, right? So we don't want to bypass these emotions. We want to be able to regulate them. We want to be able to manage them so that the emotions are not out of control, all right? The other part of regret, I remember one time that someone said something to me, and I won't go into the details because it is quite personal, but I remember saying, yeah, I regret that. And the other person was like, you should never regret anything. Regret is not a, I'm like, no, 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 no. I feel okay regretting something because when I regret something, I remember not to fuck up again, not to screw up again. And I think that there's not enough regret. I think that the world right now is functioning in this space of people thinking that their behavior is okay or that another's behavior is okay. It is not. Regulating our emotions does not mean that we stay numb to the experiences around us. To the contrary, regulating it means that I'm not going to react, but I am going to respond. There is a difference between the two, and that's what I mean by regulating. You want to be in the space of response, not in the space of reactivity. And with this Sagittarius and Capricorn swinging our energies between these two very extreme points of each other, it's more vital than ever for us to regulate our emotions. When we're speaking about Sagittarius, there is this feeling of freedom, of expansion, of emotional groundedness. But when we're speaking of Capricorn, we are speaking of emotional security that is based on status and wealth versus spirituality and the quest of the sacred, which is that Sagittarius energy. All right. So keep all that in mind. Make sure you journal, write what you're feeling, and regulate. Let's go on to the next slide when we're going to speak of the tarot players. All right, so let's get started. This is our full moon in Vedic astrology is said to be in Sagittarius. Our full moon in tropical astrology is said to be in Capricorn. So for me, our emotions are swinging between these two archetypes. So that's where our full moon is. And I also wanted to remind everyone when we get to this last quarter moon and the moon looks like this is where you want to do your ritual work and do the release work and let things go. Okay? So, who are the tarot players? Let's get started. Let's put this over here. So, let's do Capricorn. So, when we're talking about this Capricornian energy, it is an earth sign ruled by Saturn. And it's talking about using, I use, and then our highest potential. Okay? So once again, Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. And in turn, Saturn rules the devil archetype as well as the world archetype. And so when we're speaking about these two energies, the world energy is exactly what it looks like. It's like success, it's achievement, it's accomplishment, it's physical and emotional health, right? When we're looking at the devil archetype, it's exactly what you're feeling, right? It's addiction, depression, mental health issues, ego, secrecy, obsessions, cheating, etc. I don't know if you can tell, but this is my deck, by the way, the Arkansas Tarot deck. But I have here the release point. It really is a potent time to do release work when we're dealing with the Capricornian energy. And of course, the earth is all about being triumphant, right? Triumphant. So this is the energy and the tarot players that are at play for this full moon in Capricorn, right? This energy of structure, this energy of methodical thinking is part of this matrix here. All right. Now, when we speak of Sagittarius, right here, we are speaking about a fire element right here that is a transformative fire energy ruled by Jupiter, okay? And this is all about our understanding and what can we understand, right? Through analysis, philosophy, etc. Again, ruled by Jupiter's engagement, and the cards that are at play are the Wheel of Fortune and Temperance. So when we speak of the Wheel of Fortune, we do speak of destinies, right? And we are also speaking of um, basically good luck and chance and karma and soulmates, right? But again, this feels more like a destiny, especially when we're looking at it in terms of the Capricornian energy, right? So there's karmic consequences coming with this full moon engagement. And then we have this beautiful energy of, excuse me, the Temperance card, and temperance is about balance, it's about peace, it's about inner calm, perspective, tranquility, soulmates, serenity. But I always tell people when the angelic forces come in the tarot, and by the way, the devil archetype is also an angelic force. We've literally got this angelic force of good versus bad, right? And when these angelic forces come into the global narrative, it's because we need that intervention. We need that divine intervention for whatever reason. All right. So you know the drill. We're going to go on to our tarot reading. I'm not going to do any oracle readings this time around. I'm just going to do tarot. I'm going to use another deck that I'll show you in a second. But the usual story is I'm going to do the reading and I'm going to gravitate towards one of these four archetypes for us. All right. Catch you on the next slide. All right. As usual, oops, sorry about the camera moving. I pre-shuffled the cards. I put them down. I'm going to choose between my piles And I decided that I'm not going to do any oracles for you this time. I'm just going to use this tarot card, the Unfolding Path Tarot, and the Arc-en-Ciel Tarot, and we will see what emerges from there. And we're going to start with Capricorn, go all the way around, and finish up with Sagittarius. All right, let's start. So, oh, what a beautiful card. This is the Fool. This is like literally going on a journey. Obviously, I am being pulled to the World card because this is the beginning of the end of the beginning. So, for those of you with this Capricorn energy, for this full moon, we are going to feel like we went on a full circle journey. Pay attention to the things that are transient, the things that will not last forever. Pay attention to that. The beauty of life. I'm being drawn to that butterfly. And of course, this feeling of triumphant, feeling of a completion, feeling of a cycle beginning and ending for you. Beautiful. Next, we have Aquarius babies. We've got the Empress. Wow, this feels very much, I'm being drawn here to Temperance card, but this feels very much like we are about to give birth to this creative project. We are about to launch, right? We're right there. It's right at the tip of our fingertips. You do want the angelic presence here, that Temperance card. Let the magic be done on the outside, on the inside, from this angelic divine space. Don't force the birth. Allow it to come out naturally. And for that, we don't really have to control the outcome. We can just let the angels come in and do what they do, which is to ease the process for us. Lovely. Next, we have Pisces. Wow, new ideas, new beginning. It's definitely, look at that. It's like we are in control of our thoughts. And I am being drawn here to the Destiny card. There is something new beginning here for you. And I said we are in control of our thoughts, but that doesn't mean we have to be in control of the direction in which this new idea emerges. That's when that wheel of fortune really is palpable and strong, when it's allowed to take its natural course and its natural rotation. Beautiful. Next, we have Aries babies. You've got this Eight of Cups, feeling of it just it feels like emotional exhaustion, right? So I'm going to be pulled here to this devil archetype. What is it that you're attaching to? What outcomes are you wanting to have that you know you have to let go of? Anytime we are in that space of attachment, anytime we are in that space of obsession, we're going to feel depleted. So it's really important for you for this full moon to release your energies. By the way, I am focusing on the moon energies for all of this, but if you want, you can look at your ascendant and you can look at your sun sign. The way that I see it is the moon, of course, represents your emotions. The sun represents the goal, the trajectory, the location in which you're going, and the ascendant is how you get there, right? But for all of you with Aries, sun, moon, or rising, this level of disappointment and exhaustion is coming because you are feeling obsessed about something. Practice non-attachment and you'll be okay. Taurus babies, you've got this Knight of Swords. So there's this feeling here of not wanting to take full responsibility for, I don't know, family or even relationships. There's that little smirk that the this knight has. And it's really about, again, this idea of attachment, but there's also this idea of addictions, right? I'm addicted to my idea, therefore I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to blah, 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 right? So with this full moon, we want to be careful of those types of energies where we are stubborn, right? That horn, where we are stubborn about the trajectory in which we want to go because we feel that we are, for some reason, mastered it. But with a knight energy, we haven't really mastered much. We're just getting to learn something. So allow yourself the opportunity to learn for this full moon. Gemini babies, we've got this Three of Pentacles energies. This feels very much, for some reason, like the world. Some creative aspect, something that you've accomplished, something that you are achieving with this three. Be careful about your communications and how you speak about global matters. This isn't the time to really delve into that. This is the time for you to stay creative, okay? Cancer babies, sun, moon, or rising. We've got this Four of Swords. Relax, right? Temperance coming in here. Relax. Take it easy. You don't have to control everything, even though you want to, Cancer babies. Even though you're like, oh, it's my idea. I don't want to let it go. Let it go. Relax. The angelic forces allow it to happen. Also, you are overly concerned about finances or overly concerned about stability and structure, and it's really a matter of being in that still point and learning something about leadership in order for you to be stable with this business or entrepreneurial idea, etc., that you've been dreaming about. We've got the Leo babies. What do we have here? The Eight of Pentacles. You're thinking about money. You're thinking about karma, actually. This is very much this world card. You're thinking about your accomplishments. You're thinking about the hard work that you've put in. So there's a lot of energy here for the Leos of triumphant. You'll also feel very good about your body during this full moon period, which is awesome, right? You're feeling very energized, disciplined about your body. Again, this idea of another accomplishment in your life. Keep paying attention to your body. It might bring you more riches. Virgo babies, we've got this King of Cups. Now, at first I thought this King of Cups is a little bruised, right? Because you see this, but now I don't know if he's if that's just, I don't know what that is. But anyway, I got this feeling of being bruised with your emotions, but still not letting people know. It feels like the archetype of the devil, not letting people know that you have been bruised or that you're hurting or that your relationships are on the rock. There's a lot of pretending here going on with this King of Cups because you're testing other people, but you see the background and the rocky waters and the ship, right? So it's like it's not as smooth as you pretend that it is. It's really important to free yourself from that mental chain and finally expose your emotions for what they truly are. Now we have the Libra babies holding on to your finances. You've worked hard for it and you're not going to let go. Be careful about this kind of energy, right? This is obviously possession. Be careful about this kind of energy because when we hold on to things too tightly, especially when it comes to money, or even our image or our body or our discipline with our bodies, what we're letting the universe know is that we're not satisfied, that we are fearful, that we are scared, right? So we want to be able to release that and let go of possession so you can really feel the freedom. And it's again that same sort of engagement that I was feeling earlier about that energy of regret and this energy of just not being in this state of holding on to something that's not working for you anymore. Next, we have Scorpio babies. And we have this Queen of Wands. Wow, Scorpios, you're really, really working the magic here. You're really entering into your destined path, right? I'm pulling the Wheel of Fortune. You're really going into this. It feels like esoteric. It feels like the mystery schools. It feels like something of that nature is really propelling you as queen. And I love black kitty cats. So yeah, you are following your destiny this time around. You just have to show your presence and let the wheels turn. It'll be okay. Beautiful energy. And last but never least, Sagittarius, let's see what you've got here. The Hierophant. This is so Sagittarius in a lot of ways, and I am being brought over to this Destiny card because the Hierophant is the atypical Sagittarius philosopher. I'm here to teach you something sacred. I'm here to teach you something spiritual. I'm here to philosophize with you the meaning of life. This is very much about destiny and leadership, but leadership in a higher state, spiritual state. So you get to showcase that a little bit. Also, remember that the wheels of life turn and things happened. We are all here as transient beings. We will all eventually transition into another aspect of the self, and it is part of destiny. So again, don't be afraid of that spiritual death that may kind of be needed with this full moon of release. Beautiful. All right, everyone, that's it. That's the reading. I'm trying to keep these a little bit short. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy, happy full moon. Stay safe out there and take care. I love you.